Listen, if you want to unlock ultimate confidence, if you want to feel like your authentic self and vibrate on the highest level, you need to get to know who you are. You need to get to know what you like, what you don't like, what you accept, what you will not accept. This is the whole key. The biggest thing in life that you should study is you, is your behaviors, is how you act. Once you know who you are, no one can tell you anything. I want to say a huge thank you for BetterHelp for sponsoring this video. BetterHelp is an online therapy platform with over 30,000 therapists. The therapists are there to give you unbiased and helpful advice with any issue that you might be facing. There are so many therapists at your disposal that you can choose from. And if you don't like the therapist that you are matched up with, BetterHelp gives you the option to switch therapists with no additional charge, which in real life, honestly, that would not happen. So if you don't know where to begin to find a therapist or where to even look at, and you don't want to leave your house, BetterHelp is the best platform for that because it's all out of the comfort of your own home. You can just browse and look at different options. To get started, you fill out a questionnaire to help assess your specific needs, and then you'll get matched with a therapist in as little as a few days. You can schedule video, phone, or message-based sessions, whatever you are most comfortable with. So let BetterHelp connect you with a therapist all out of the comfort of your own home. You can do this by visiting the link in the description or betterhelp.com/wizardliz. What you can also do is click on Wizard Liz during sign up and you will enjoy a special discount with your first month. Hi guys, my name is Liz and welcome back to my channel. Okay, let's get into it. First things first, I need you to realize is that there is no self. So what you are right now is just made up beliefs by your parents, by the people around you, by your friends, society, whatever, right? I think a lot of times if, for example, beauty standards, if they weren't there, a lot of people wouldn't look how they look right now because there's nothing to look up to or to follow. A lot of people wouldn't do certain jobs because it's not like, oh, that's accepted in society and that other job is shamed in society. Or like made up in a societal structure that we follow unconsciously and consciously. But what I love about that is that when there is no self, we can also change it and we can become who we feel is most authentic and makes us the most happy. And how we do that is by, first of all, changing the way you talk to yourself. See, your whole life, your parents have told you things about yourself. Your friends have told you things about yourself. And in childhood, you adapted those traits as who you are. So for example, when I was very young, I was told that I wasn't smart, okay? By one of my abusive parents, like, you're not smart, whatever, shut up, blah, blah, a woman should never talk. And then I started to, now even in adulthood, I doubt my intelligence because of what I was told in childhood. But now I reaffirm to myself, no, you are smart, you know so much, you have so much knowledge. And I reaffirm that to myself to change those beliefs because I want to control what I believe and I want to shape who I am to myself. The same way, when you were younger and someone told you you're not beautiful, you're not good looking, later in life, you will always remember that unconsciously and you'll be like insecure about your looks or think like, oh, this is not good enough and all these things. You can tell yourself right now that you are. You can look at yourself right now and be like, you are the most gorgeous, hottest thing on earth. Like, wow, when I look at you, I am mesmerized. You can tell yourself these things. And even when you say like, oh no, I don't believe it, I don't want to say it, why don't you believe it? Beauty is a made up societal structure, right? For a lot of people that are even considered beautiful, let's say to you, are not beautiful to other people. You know how many times I heard that I'm not good looking and all these things, and I see why they think that because it's their perception and I'm probably not their type and I don't care to be their type. But does that mean that when I look in the mirror, I have to say that to myself, or I have to say their affirmation of their perception of me to myself? No. I can create my own perception, my own world, my own character of who I am. Another thing you should ask yourself is, are you acting or are you reacting to life? So I actually had this conversation with my therapist and she was like, Liz, you are very sensitive. So whenever someone comes up to you and asks you, like, let's say, let's go for a coffee, let's go on a date, whatever. She's like, because you're so sensitive, you might think in your head like, oh, you know what? Yeah, let's go. Let's see where it takes me. And maybe this is the person. But she's like, you should start acting and you should like connect to your heart and think to yourself, is this what I want? That moment you should really ask yourself, am I saying yes to this thing or to this invitation because I really want to go? Or am I scared to disappoint people? Do I feel bad for them? And that's why I'm saying yes. When you know that when you're saying yes, it's authentic to what you want to do, you'll become more confident. When you know that when you're saying no, it's authentic to what you want to do, you'll become confident because you are living in accordance to your own voice. Another thing is think about what are your non-negotiables. So let's say, for example, for me in a relationship, if my partner is not loyal, that's it. My partner knows and I know I will not stay there and I will not take this relationship seriously anymore. That's my non-negotiable. I do not budge on that. I stand on it. I do not care. Why? Let's say there's a couple, right? And they both decide, okay, we're going to be loyal. We're going to be in a trusting relationship. When one of that person breaks that trust, it's traumatizing for that other person because now they're going to take that on to their next relationship and start to distrust other people. Because it's like a sudden shock. And I don't think people realize how cheating is a big trauma for a person. For example, in work, you can think about, okay, if the boss is making rude comments, whatever, is that your non-negotiable? Are you thinking, no, I will not accept that. We cannot compromise on this. I will leave. The more you have your non-negotiables clear for you and you know that this I will accept, this I won't accept, and you stand on those boundaries, that is the more you will feel confident about yourself and the people around you will also start to respect you more. A person that says, if you cheat on me and I discover that and they leave, that is a person that is forever will be respected, okay? Even by the other person. Because no matter what they do, they can cry, they can beg, they can do anything for them. But this person has so much self-worth, has so much boundary. You know, there's one thing about women that I've noticed. Doesn't matter how long she stayed with you, doesn't matter how many years she put up with things. Once a woman in her head makes that switch of this is not what I want anymore. She can even have stayed there for 25 years in this relationship, okay? Once she knows in her head, this is not what I want anymore. I will not accept any further than this. You can go take a hike. This woman will not come back to you. Once a woman knows in her head you're not that person anymore, she will not even be able to look at you the same. It will never ever come back. I respect that so much. I respect it. Like no matter how many years it took, no matter whatever it took for you to leave, once a woman leaves, she will boss up. You will never recognize her anymore. All the pain you put her through doesn't matter. This woman will always come out on top. We live in a society where our dopamine receptors in the brain are very worn out. And that's dangerous when that happens because when your dopamine receptors are worn out, nothing becomes exciting anymore. So people go to the extreme to feel a certain sense of excitement. You can see this, for example, with people that from a very young age started drinking because alcoholism is so normal in this world and it's almost pushed upon everyone, you know? And I feel like because they normalize this later on, because they've been drinking for so long, they start to use like heavier substances. And then later on, these substances also don't do anything anymore. So now you have a lot of people that are addicted since they were teenager. And somehow we're all normalizing this. Their dopamine receptors are completely worn out and they're depressed and don't feel any excitement anymore for anything in the world. Also, look at what is triggering you and where is that coming from. When I was younger in school, I used to hate when teachers would tell me what to do, and I would never even take it seriously. Why? Because at home, I was constantly controlled. I wasn't allowed to have a voice. So the only thing I've ever wanted was freedom to speak my mind and to say what I want and just to be free, okay? So when at school, I was also controlled, that would trigger me. But that was triggering the wound that I had back home. And I needed to realize these things so I could stop acting in a way and hurting other people that had nothing to do with it. I had to go back to the base of where is this coming from so I could work on that and that I could live in a way where I can respect others. And honestly, therapy has helped me a lot with that because when I talked to my therapist, it was always about, okay, Liz, where are you going wrong? What are you doing that these situations keep happening again, so that we can fix it and actually change your life? Instead of, because people often think that therapists sit there and will just listen to you and act like you're good and that's it. No, they will make you take accountability and change your life. I think what is also so important about understanding your triggers is that it makes you understand that you're not crazy. It makes you understand that you're not a bad person, but you're just acting out of past wounds. And I think that's beautiful. I think that's putting sanity inside of your mind and being like, you know what? I'm not an aggressive person. I'm just hurt. And I've been hurt so many times that the only way my body's reacting right now is out of aggression. Because the moments that I was hurt, I couldn't speak up for myself, or I didn't say it. So this is all pent up anger and resentment that's coming out as an aggressive person. But that doesn't have to be me. That doesn't have to define me. And you can change that when you understand where it's coming from. It's good to acknowledge your feelings. I think the way people can heal is when they are in touch with their feelings and emotions, and when they don't demonize it. The reason why you're sad is because you're hurt. It's not because you're weak. It's not because, oh, you're not strong enough to handle it. No, something hurt you. And it's okay to cry it out, because that's how you release whatever has hurt you. But if you hold it in, people get physically ill from this. People even die from illnesses by holding on to this pent up anger, resentment, and stress. Release it. If it's crying for months, release it. That's the way you release, okay? Whatever you have to do, in whatever way, release it. If it's talking about it constantly over and over again until you're done talking about it, then do that. Do that. I've told the same stories maybe 100 times, but now I'm done telling those stories because it's out of my system. The other thing is, look at the patterns in your life that are repeating itself over and over again, because that is teaching you where your healing lies, okay? I've had multiple patterns repeat. I've had my father in my life that was abusive, and then I attracted my ex-partner that was exactly a replica of my father. In the beginning it was great, and then it turned out to be he's just like my dad, okay? Now, why was this pattern coming up? Because I still had not come to terms with what happened with my father. So it came back to me in a relationship form, so I can see it in front of myself. And I almost felt like I was recreating my mother's and father's relationship with my ex-partner. And when I understood that, and I was like, wow, but this is not what I want. Because if I have a child, she will just be a little Liz again with the same traumas. I don't want that for my child. So that's when I said, you know what? No, I don't want to continue this. I want to stop this cycle of the same patterns happening again. Even in friendships, even in relationships, look at these people and ask yourself, are they repeating themselves over and over again? Am I experiencing the same thing over and over again? Then start thinking, okay, what is my lesson here? Why am I attracting the constant same person over and over again? And you should, instead of blaming, take responsibility for your life, okay? In my life, it's very easy to say, you know what, my life is shit because I had an abusive father. No, I took responsibility for my life. I could have blamed him all day, but it doesn't matter now, does it? Because it's in the past. What I did with my life afterwards was all up to me. And because I took the responsibility and I was like, Liz, you know what? You're going to work on yourself. You're going to become the best version of yourself. You're going to become one of the strongest adults you've ever seen. That's going to protect your inner child. When I did that, that's when I became successful. That's when I had everything. Because I refused to just succumb to the abuse, to just be like, it's your fault and I'm going to be the victim here. I was never the victim. I was always going to be the person that was going to come out on top no matter what. In any situation you put me in, I will come out on top no matter what. Responsibility gives you the power over your life, and blame takes it away. Blame gives that abuser or that person that was bad to you or whatever they did to you, that gives them power. But you have that power. When you take responsibility and I'm like, you know what, whatever you did to me, how many times you lied to me, how many times you cheated, I am still gonna come out on top. When you do that, you win. You win. and don't become addicted to your suffering. A lot of you guys are so addicted to feeling that sensation of that stress again. A lot of people around me even that also come from an abusive childhood, they act constant new drama, they create for themselves constantly because that's the only thing they knew, and that's what they're kind of addicted to, that feeling of that rush again, that drama again. But don't become addicted to it. Have some, you know what? Start to realize I'm not that person anymore. I'm not that abused child. I'm not that person that was cheated on. I'm not that person anymore. I'm a different person now. I don't need to create those situations again for myself. I don't need to fight like I used to. My life is calm now. My life is peaceful. And start to make that your reality. Say like, you know what? Now I have a good life. I have a great life, actually, you know. Start to say that to yourself and start to acknowledge that that's the past. What has happened has happened. That doesn't define me today. That's not who I am today. And you guys are not going to treat me like that's who I am today. Also start to realize that who feeds you and who takes from you, okay? So when I was a lot around my previous partner, I started to think, I'm depressed, I'm sad, like I'm always sad, I'm isolated. This is who I am. That's what I constantly thought. But why did I think that? Because I didn't have any friends or family around me. So I was alone with this person constantly. So they could just make my mind in whoever they wanted to be. And I started to believe that this is just who I am. But the minute I came and I visited my family, I reconnected with old friends, I realized I feel alive around these people. I feel like I want to live. And that's something that I haven't felt in a very, very long time. Because my previous partner was just taking from me. Taking, and leaving me empty. But when I'm here now, I'm starting to realize it's an equal give and exchange. I don't feel sleepy around these people. I don't feel drained. I don't feel like I want to take my life. I feel like I want to live. So when I understood the difference, and after that, I even think about like, oh, my previous partner, I'm like, no, I don't want to ever do that again. Because I never want to feel how I felt, how bad I felt. I want to continue being around people who I can give to and that give me the same way back in an energetical sense. Always feel it. You will feel it when you feel fulfilled. When you come home from someone, let's say a friend, and you feel like, oh my God, I need to sleep for 10 days now. That person has drained you. That's not your person. You should feel like, oh my God, I have so much energy. You know, I reconnected with this old friend of mine, and whenever I'm around her, I don't even need sleep. We can go on for days and days and days, and we just have fun. So choose wisely who you surround yourself with, because that will also shape who you become. I recently have been meeting a lot of people, and I came from isolation to meeting a lot of people, and I'm starting to realize, okay, I want to hang out with you, but I wouldn't hang out with you. Not because they're a bad person, but because their lifestyle doesn't align with what I would want in my life. For example, I've noticed that a lot of people have alcohol addiction. A lot of people have substance addiction, especially now in this world and in the age that we live in. And I was looking at that, and they party constantly and all these things. And I was thinking like, you know, if I become friends with you, like really close friends, and we go out and stuff, I don't want that to become my life, because I can see how it would distract me from my work and my purpose in this world. And I feel like I would just get lost, you know? So I then choose my friends, like for example, that old friend that I reconnected with, she has the same morals as me. That's the same kind of vibration I'm on. If you choose people that constantly that aren't really connected to themselves and want to escape from reality, because that's what I truly think that alcohol, substance, all these things are. You just don't want to face reality. You don't want to face yourself. So if you surround yourself with people that constantly party, do that, and want to escape reality, you'll become the other person as well. And eventually you'll feel like you're losing yourself. Nothing in excess is good. Too much of anything is bad for you. I think in the long run, if you hang out with people, you just become them. You can even see that physically, people, best friends and stuff, they start to look alike. Your aura gets mixed, and your energy get mixed. If you look at this person and you think, I would not want to be like them, I would not want to live the way they live, then that's not your person. And then you choose people that do align to your lifestyle and who you want to be. also start looking at what are people, what are books, what are TV shows, songs teaching you. Everywhere we look, we have messages, we have signs. And it's almost like God and the universe is constantly talking to us, but it's for us to really open our eyes and look at the signs, okay? So for example, if you read a book right now, and if I read a book, I will see that book in my perspective, and I will take from that book what was important for me and in my world. You had a whole different lesson from that book, what was important for you and in your life and your perspective, right? That's how we get those signs. Also, like people that come up to you. Like I recently met this guy in the weirdest way possible. Such a divine thing, okay? He taught me a lot about myself. He taught me about my attachment style in relationships, and he was like, Liz, you have an avoidant attachment style. And I was like, whoa, what is that? And explain to me. And it's basically that when a person feels more safe alone, they will like be in relationships, but they will never want to fully commit. And that's what I have. So I will, if someone brings up marriage to me, I get scared, okay? I'm like, no, I don't want to do that. But it's because in my head, I feel most safe when I'm alone, because I didn't have people around me when I was younger that I could trust. So when I felt safe was when Liz was alone in her room. That's when I felt safe. So I constantly go back to that. I never even thought about my attachment style, because what I constantly attract are anxious attachment people. So these are people that have abandonment issues. They're afraid of getting rejected. They're afraid of getting abandoned. And because of that trauma, they get obsessed with me, because I kind of reject them. I kind of always hold this distance, you know, but both of us are acting out of a trauma response. That was so interesting when that person told all of this to me, because I was starting to realize when I was meeting more people, like, I don't like how they become so almost obsessed or controlling over me immediately. And then I started to realize, but I'm attracting anxious people that all have rejection wounds, that have abandonment wounds. And because of the way I act, which is in a rejecting way, they become obsessed. Not because I'm a great person, but because I'm their trauma. And when I realize this, I'm like, oh my God, I'm gonna have to start to work on my own issues so I won't attract these people anymore, because it's scary. But look how this person came into my life to teach me that, and for me to change that. What you can also do is take a paper and write down, okay, who am I? What do I love? What don't I love? What do I do for fun? What are my hobbies? What were my hobbies when I was younger? How do I want people to treat me? How do I think that I treat people? These are all questions you can write down and ask yourself, and you'll have all the answers. You'll have like this little example of who you are as a person. Another thing is living in the now. And this is something my sister has told me so many times lately, because I was like, oh, Sabina, but I want to achieve this. Oh, Sabina, in a month, I'm going to do this. And she constantly reminds me, Liz, live in the now. Just think about now. Live your life right now. Look around you, live now. And constantly, because I'm reminded of that, I feel like I appreciate life more, and I'm not running from it. I feel like my whole life, I've just been running and going to the next thing. And that's why I've never felt fulfilled by anything, because I'm not acknowledging it, you know? I'm not acknowledging it. Yeah, okay, I went viral. I went viral on YouTube. Amazing. People would have thrown a party because of it. I was just like, no, what's next? What's next? What's next? That's why I never realized what was happening, because I was never living in the now. I was always living in the future. That's how anxiety comes up. That's how you have more stress, because you're constantly thinking about the future. But if you think right now, what can I do now? What I have? What tools can I use? And what can I create now? That's when you create the future. Because the future doesn't exist, right? Past also doesn't exist. What you have is now. When you don't appreciate now, nothing else will flourish. Good to have goals, but don't live for it. Don't live for the future. Don't become a slave of the future. What people think about you is none of your business. People can think whatever they want, okay? When you put something out there, when you create something, you will always attract people on your vibration, or that are meant to see whatever you put out. Whether it's positive or whether it's negative, they were meant to see what you put out there. You just have to create. That's it. all of the rest doesn't matter because it's not your business. You will never control their minds. You will never control how they think. And that's just, why would you want to be in someone else's head? Be in your own head. Think about your own stuff. Why are you there? Be here. Be present again. As you start to realize that what others think about you is none of your business, and whether you are the best person on earth, they will not like you still. You can be the most PG, nice person ever, and people will still have something bad to say about you. When you accept that, you know what? Criticism, I love it. It's a part of life. You have the good, you have the bad, and it's beautiful both ways. When you accept that, you live like yourself authentically. You don't have any fear because you don't have anything to worry about. I don't have to. Why would I worry about millions of people's brains? Why? I don't have time for that. So I just put myself out there, and what you think of it, it's up to you. But somewhere you saw that video of me because you needed that. Whether it hurt you or whether it helped you, you needed that. Last but not least, I think believing in yourself is one of the highest ways of connecting with yourself. You know, when everyone tells you like, oh no, you don't deserve to have that, you don't deserve to have this, and you tell yourself, but I do. I want whatever I want in life. If I want to have the best life, and if I want to say, let's live like a queen, and I want to be treated like a queen, I can have that. And who is anyone to say that I don't deserve that? Lots of people have it. It exists in this world. Whatever exists, I can have as well. Start to say that to yourself when you're like, you know what, I want to be the most confident, beautiful, amazing, smart person that I am. That's it. That's how fast life will change for you because you decided that for yourself. That's who you want to be and that's who you already are. So you start unlocking that version of you. If you listen to, no, you shouldn't be living like that. No, you shouldn't have this. No, you shouldn't. When you listen to that, it will cloud your mind. It will start to be like, oh my God, no, they told me I was not deserving of a good life. So now I won't have a good life. But what are you, a slave? What are you, a slave to these people? No, really start thinking to yourself, am I a slave or am I a free spirit? Am I a free soul that came to this earth to live my best life possible and to help and create in this earth the best way possible? Really. One thing in life that I've always valued because I didn't have it was freedom. And I'll be damned if someone ever takes that away from me again. Anyways, guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you learned something from this video. And yeah, I see you in the next video. Bye-bye. I love you.